You're listening to It Came From the Radio. You know this is Jennifer Lee Feldman, aka L Man, aka it doesn't really matter because we got someone real special, real talented here. And his name is Brandon Bassham, but people call him Bassham, Bassham, but it's really Bassham. He's a filmmaker, he's a comedy writer. He also teaches comedy, so maybe if you're not funny, he can teach you how to be funny. I don't know. We'll get into it in a second. Maybe we won't. You know, sometimes I go off the rails, but Brandon, thank you so much for being here. Talented guy.
Oh, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
So we're not gonna go right into the film that we worked on together. I don't even know if we'll get to that. I really just want your thoughts on filmmaking. So here we
Okay.
go. Three things to avoid when producing a movie, because you've produced quite a few, and I love them all. I love everything I've seen.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's tough. There's so many things to produce, but also, that is a tough question. I would say, be aware of your limits is a big one. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to, you should be ambitious, but
Okay.
ambitious within reason, you know.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
you don't want to oh, let's just make a boring movie, people sitting in a room talking because we know we can make that. Try to be more ambitious than that, but also like don't have a ton of action in it. Don't have a space
Uh,
battle. Don't have locations you're not going to be able to get because that's going to cause problems. Try to think ahead before you start doing this. Before you get too far in, have it like have an exit strategy. I think is the big one too. And most everything I've done, I've always had. If this goes off the rails, this completely we put what do I do out of this? I always have like a backup plan of how to salvage whatever we do get done.
okay.
So I guess that's kind of two answers. And
Yeah,
the third
sure.
one, I guess, is it what don't to do? I try to avoid going into anything with people you can't trust. Like with
Oh
your team,
yeah.
you're working on low budget stuff. Like try to eliminate not having reliable people around. I try to. Very few people worked on a movie that I didn't have some sort of connection to or hadn't vetted them before we went into even as small as like somebody having a small part. Like I try to make sure we have mutual friends. I've got
Right.
character witnesses on them because you don't want to get, like I said, halfway into filming and then people disappear on you, and if you're
Right.
trusting them too much, things like that. So I've always tried to make sure it's a trustworthy crew that we have.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go off the question list. This actually happened to me. I worked with someone on a lot of things, and I got at least four different texts or calls from different people who warned me that this person might be a murderer, a violent person, and this was like dating back years ago. And I said, I don't believe in gossip, gossip. I don't believe in that. And guess what? And it all turned out to be true, and I didn't listen. So, do you listen to gossip if someone warns you, like, we work together? If you got a warning
Yeah.
that, oh, Jen Feldman's a murderer, like,
Yeah.
what do you do with that information? Because everyone talks crap.
Well, you have to be able to suss what's BS and what's probably what seems to be conjecture, what seems to be just this person's opinion, and if enough people say stuff like that, or if I look into it, it seems believable, then you're like, we're not going to get this person involved.
Yeah.
There's a degree to which like, maybe they're a little like they're can be a jerk sometimes, or one or two people says a bad thing about them, but three other people say they're cool, and you might
Right.
take the calculated risk. But if it's all I know about this person is somebody said they might kill me, then I'm like, well, I probably shouldn't invite them to set then. If that's the only
Yeah.
character witness is like this person's the killer, then unless we really need them.
Right, right, right. Okay. Now, I do want to mention you have Feartown USA, you have Slashing. How many slashings are there? Slashing one,
They're
slashing
slashing.
two. Oh, there's only two. Okay. And then
The slashing and then slashing the final beginning. The final beginning is actually the second one, and yeah, we've not gotten around to a third one yet. Yeah,
Okay. And you also just came out with, well, you're the writer or co-writer of Shakespeare Shitstorm,
yeah,
Troma's big film, which was very cool. And you just came out with, which I'm in two of the stories, which is
yeah.
I'm not talking about this because I'm in it. I'm actually genuinely interested. There's five stories, Bring on the Damned, volume one, maybe volume one of two or three or five. I don't know. We'll
Hopefully,
see.
there's a second one. Hope we're working on it.
we'll see. That was real cool. I had some friends come. It was a sold out official premiere in Museum of the Moving Image. I had one friend had to wait outside because it was sold out, and my other friends
Turning
we had
people away. Yeah.
yeah, it was a real good time. It was really fun, creative people. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to give you a shout out for that, and I want to give you a shout out because I did not know what docking was, which we won't go too far into until I watched one of your films, and then I had a convict sitting next to me explaining it. So thank you so much. Now I know what docking is. Now my life is complete. Thank you so much.
A movie I mainly were trying to educate with my movies.
Yeah, exactly. And you teach comedy, so I'll go right into my next question. You
Yeah.
teach comedy. Now, some people, I can't be too specific here without giving it away. They just don't seem to know how to laugh. And they don't seem to have a sense of humor. What the hell is wrong with these people?
I don't know. And what's crazy, it's bad enough just in day-to-day life, people that like don't have a sense of humor and can't laugh. It's been wrong. It's weird the number of people that will take a comedy class or get involved in comedy that have no sense of humor. It's the more shocking thing. I've sat in rooms where
Oh,
first day of class, like, hey, so what are your favorite comedies? We'll get people who'll be like, I don't really like comedy. Like, you paid money to take a comedy class and you don't like any comedy. This Why would
yeah.
you do this? And also those are I've never met somebody who is cool that's like I don't like comedy.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. Now, behind every productive man, this is my saying, it's not an ancient proverb, is well, who's behind every productive man? You're a very productive man, and most people who produce big projects have at least one other person supporting them emotionally, physically, financially. Do you have a support group or people backing you or people you can turn to keep going when things get tough?
I have a family mostly, I mean, primarily my wife Katie, who works the
Mhm.
day job, has a serious job, so I can be an
Okay.
artist. And she pays the bills in the slim periods, and lets me go out and do all this and keep doing it.
Wow.
So she's been the primary one. But then I have a lot of I have old family friends and stuff. Not like I don't family like is in me and my wife family, not like my parents, and I don't go back that far. But I have a good
Mhm.
selection, a collection of people that have supported me and have always kind of cheered me on and been there for me. And then when it comes to working, I have, I work with a lot of the same people over and over again. Some people come and go because it is the grueling life of making, movies for no money. And like literally, like our
Yeah.
budget for Bring the Damned is $25,000.
Hmm.
That's like or no, not even 20,000. Sorry, I added an extra five in there, and that's the biggest budget I've had. So it's like it's grueling to do that. I've been doing it for like 10 years, so
Hmm.
there are people that kind of come and go, and it just becomes like a whole lot of work, and you don't really see a big reward for it. But then there's a lot of people, Pat Foy, who's been in all five of my movies. So is Billy Bob Thompson. They've been in all five of my all every movie I've made, and most of the shorts I've made. And worked behind the scenes with me a lot too. And Matt Weir, who's helped me with the last couple of movies. There's a lot of good people. They've been there for several projects, and that's like I said, it's good to surround yourself with trustworthy people because
Yeah.
when there's days like, hey, we have all this to shoot, we've got $100 to do it, to do 3 days of shooting. How are we going to do this? And
Right.
friends and people who really like doing this stuff.
Yes. So, a lot of people still say this, and I'm just like, I don't want to call them names, so I'm just gonna go away from that. But there's still people who think that they need to go to LA. Oh, or they'll say to me, I get texts, I'm not gonna say once a week, but like, oh, when you're in Hollywood, it's like, I don't want to go to Hollywood. You don't have to go to Hollywood. My uncle's been a cameraman at Hollywood for my whole entire life. Like, I don't glamorize Hollywood. What are your thoughts on, do we need to go to Hollywood? Do we need to go to LA? Like, what are your thoughts on this? To be a filmmaker, successful or be seen, or an
I mean, I
actor.
don't know. It depends on what's. I mean, as actors go, there's just more work there. Is even if
Okay.
you're just getting like junky, extra parts and small parts, there's more work available. That's just more. But
Hmm.
on the creative side, absolutely not. Nobody goes to LA and gets more talented. Everybody,
Ah,
I know lots of talented people. They go to LA and then they quit doing good work.
ah,
They were hilarious in New York and they're in LA for a couple of years. They're booking jobs, they're in
right.
commercials and stuff, but they'll never be funny or make anything interesting ever again. They're done. They're done creatively. Now they're just going to be bit parts on Netflix TV shows, and again, the occasional commercial. They'll be on some movie you see on Netflix that nobody watches, maybe, and I only watch because when I heard my friends in it. That's all they're going to do because there's just nothing. LA is dead creatively, intellectually, emotionally. It's not a good, not. It's never been a good place, and it's just gotten worse.
Kind of agree. All right, so this is very important. No, Barack Obama has a film company. He's producing movies for Netflix.
The
That's it. That's it. Just, that's it. All right, next question.
kind
Excuse
of
me,
great
what?
creative minds, yeah.
Would you like to work with Barack Obama?
I mean, if there's a paycheck, I'll take a paycheck and then go make something interesting outside of that. Other than that, not really. It should work in with any politician. I don't care for any of them on any side, but you're not going to do anything creative with any of them. That's money laundering, scams, and propaganda.
Yeah, well, there's a place for money laundering. Sometimes money needs to be cleaned. It's quite dirty. I've stuck
Filthy,
money in
filthy money.
places
Yeah.
where I don't want to tell people, so you better launder and clean that money, You better clean that. Sometimes I'm a little sweaty. All right, switching gears. Now, I received a text a few weeks ago from someone telling me to let me know if you ever need a director for any of your projects. I'm like how dumb do you think I am that I want someone, even someone who's brilliant, and definitely not someone like this who I haven't seen in 10 years to direct my visions into reality. So I do support the cannabis business, but perhaps this person has been dipping into their own supply to suggest such an audacious offer to me to direct my vision. What's wrong with you, Roy? Roy Leshner. Anyway, love you, but you're not directing my visions. So, what are your thoughts on other people directing your scripts? Would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, if it's I don't really have a, if somebody hired me to write something for them, I would do that. I did that with Shakespeare shitstorm for Lloyd Kaufman, and I
Right.
did had written a script for their dearly departed Doug Stackman from Trauma too. But that was ahead of time. I would not at this point something that I wrote that generated from me fully. I they would have to pay me a whole lot of money to take one of my babies. At this point, I'm becoming more and more of a control freak, and I'm more. I mean, I writing was my main background, but at this point, I'm a filmmaker from start to finish. The film is mine. I'm going to come up with the ideas. I do like collaboration, but I've just gotten more into it. I can't separate the directing, the editing, and the writing from each other anymore. And I don't have. I mean, the reason why I started directing was early on, I just wanted to write, and we were doing like just short internet comedy videos and stuff. And other people who'd always, I'm a director, I'm a film, I know all that, did all the film school stuff, and then they would do it, and I was pretty hands off. Like I'm pretty like wasn't going to be too critical, and they would just botch it every time. Like I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah.
I'd rather beat myself up over this if I do something wrong, as with have somebody else just who's not gonna. I haven't met anybody who cares as much about as I do about it. So I trust me to it may not turn out right, but I'll do the best job because I'm going to care more than anyone else. I'm going to work harder than anyone else. So
Yeah.
going forward, I can't imagine ever letting anybody write anything that was important or direct anything that like I wrote that it was like again generated in my idea.
Yeah. Even if they do care, maybe they care even more than you. It's still going to be their vision. It's not going to be your vision. It's like
Yeah.
impossible, you know?
Like I
Yeah.
said, as a
But
work for hire, I don't mind doing that because it is fun to write, but that is done with the you have something you want me to write for you. I don't mind doing that.
right,
And I can
right.
be hands off with that. But if it's something that like I really is a personal passion project, that's got to be me all the way.
Oh yeah, I got the Men Success Network, which I announced next to you at the Comic-Con a couple years ago, which produced that panel.
Yes.
Eventually, I'll do it when people stop hiring me, but nobody's gonna produce that. Okay, it's gonna be me anyway. So you teach screenwriting classes. How can people take your classes? How can they sign up?
Well, if they find me on Instagram, Brandon
Okay,
B LOL, just reach out to me. I teach them online. Rotates like a 2 month class. It's like once a
okay,
week we meet, chit chat about it. So if you reach out to me, it's kind of going on ongoing forever. until I make so much money that I can stop working. So it
What
won't be
if
happening anytime soon.
they support like the Hillary Clinton campaign? Will you still teach them?
Oh yeah, I don't care.
Oh,
Most of the people I interact with and stuff are all like super libs. I'm apolitical on that stuff, so I don't care.
which is throwing things out. I love Hillary, and sometimes people put her down. It makes me sad. So I just wanted to make sure that you would not do such a thing.
No, no,
All right,
they have a home with me, I guess.
good. See, love you, Hillary. Don't kill me. All right. Actors. You have to choose actors for your films. What are a couple things you look for when you're hiring an actor?
Well, trustworthiness, we went back to earlier. I'd make sure that they want to do it and they can be depended
Mm,
on. They can be at least easy for me to work with. Other actors who don't like that's fine as long as they can get along with me and that I can rely on them.
mm,
Um, I usually like I don't on the project we've had anyway, I mostly try to find the actors and reach out to them as opposed to having like casting calls because I don't really like making people read for stuff and then not, it's like I had to do every now and then for things, but in general, I try to like I look at everybody's reels, look at everybody's previous work. I try to check them like I think they would be good for this part, and then and then also when you cast it that way, I don't have to direct as much because they're right for the part, so they should just do it. They're bringing their own thing. I shouldn't have to walk them through it. But just being responsible and caring and wanting to do it is the most important thing. Like I said, I can't have people who are like, "Oh, I was doing this as a favor. I don't really want to be
uh,
here." Like, that's not going to be. I mean, again, everybody technically is doing us favors because we, so low budget. But I can't have that attitude. And I understand it. It's just this is going to be grueling, and I can't have you bail or not giving us like a good vibe. I can't have bad vibes on set. I've tried to avoid that
yeah,
on every
yeah.
set. Mostly succeed.
Well, I will apologize. I came to set extremely full. I tend to eat a tray or two of food before every time we shot. And one time I ate an entire bag of Halloween candy and my mouth actually melted. So I might have come in some weird vibes, but hey, my mom was going through
No,
chemo.
you're
It was a tough
always
time.
good vibes. Always
Nah,
good
it
vibes
could
and
have been
easy to
better,
work with.
trust me.
Yeah.
I was also being harassed. I was getting phone calls from some person like 10 times a day. But such is life. Life will
Yeah.
always throw you obstacles. Some parent or friend's gonna have some illnesses sometime, and you gotta push through it. But I will say you were very smart to cast me as a cat because I have about a handful of people who see me as a cat, who have taken drugs and see me as a cat, who have cast me as a cat, who have painted me as a cat. Someone cast me in something else as a cat. I had to turn it down. So it's like cat, 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 cat. And here I am as a cat. And I'm playing a villain at least 4 times this year, eating people's body parts. And he had me do that in the film. So if you want to see me eat with Zach Amico's intestines, you can watch Bring on the Damned. I don't want to spoil too much. But anyway, we're at the end of the interview.
Nice.
It was more of a ramble on for me than an interview. But any final thoughts for the radio or society?
No, mostly just please try to find our new movie, Bring on the Damned.
Yes.
It's going to be, touring and playing around the country for the rest of the year. The next in New Jersey at Kevin Smith's Smod Castle on April 5th. We'll be there. We're also starting a cross country tour with several other Trauma movies starting March 29th. I know we're hitting Oregon, Texas, a bunch of Ohio screenings. I'm going home to Winter Park, Florida for a screening on April 19th. We're going to be in Colorado. So check out Trauma's website. And that's just the beginning. It's like a handful. It'll be our film, Bring on the Damned, along with, I believe, 5 other new Trauma movies. Watch them as a marathon or as individual movies. I will be at some of the screenings. Some of my fellow directors will be at others. But it should be a good time. A good chance to see some new Trauma voices and new directors.
Yeah. And I saw on this tour, I think Where Deer is part of the tour. I
Hmm.
interviewed Ben Johnson,
Yeah.
and I saw the trailer for Where Deer back in 2020 in my basement. I was producing something, a small thing for Trauma with Lloyd's assistant, Tom D'Amico at the time. We're in my basement, and they showed me this trailer for Where Deer, and I'm like, I gotta see this. This is so
It's
crazy.
really funny. It's really funny. Yeah, Ben and Jimmy are super funny guys, and it's a really entertaining, really fun movie.
So if you see this tour, you're going to see a lot of interesting things that are definitely not boring. And yeah, we're past time on this interview, so thank you for
Okay.
listening so much. And please just tell us one more time, anyone where to find you, websites, anything we might have
Uh,
missed.
Mainly Instagram is Brandon BLOL, and if you go to Troma Now, the Troma Now app, you can find all of my previous films. But we're also on Tubi, all of my previous movies slash In Fear Town USA slash In Final Beginning.
Yes, watch Slashing, watch Fear Town. Very, very fun. If you don't think they're funny, please write a review saying so because Brandon sometimes will post the bad reviews. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I do films. I like being good films, sure, whatever. But I also like to be in horrible films and to see the dubbing and to see the horrible reviews. And they're extremely funny. So on that note, we're at the end of the interview. And now back to the studio for more. It came from the radio with Mark Torres.